From their intricate dances to their life cycle, bees do things that might seem strange, but make perfect sense in the context of their social lives. Let's take a closer look at these super stingers and answer one of the great questions of our time. Why do bees do a little dance when they come back to the hive? Before we get into that though, how does a bee become a bee? Let's start with the basics. Bees are one of the most socially organized insect species, alongside ants and termites. Bees live in colonies, with each colony having a queen bee, worker bees, and young bees, all clearly assigned specific roles. Bees are highly diverse, and some species are domesticated by humans to harvest products such as honey, beeswax, and royal jelly. The queen bee has a lifespan of about 5 years and is responsible for filling the hive with eggs. She is busiest during the summer months when the hive requires maximum strength. During this period, the queen can lay up to 2,500 eggs per day. Interestingly, the queen can control the sex of the eggs. If she fertilizes an egg using stored sperm, it develops into a female. If the egg remains unfertilized, it hatches into a male. In other words, female bees inherit genes from both their mother and father, while male bees inherit only from their mother. So, all bees start off as eggs laid by a queen bee. After about 3 days, male and female larvae emerge. Once they hatch, male bees mate with the queen and then promptly die. Females, on the other hand, live longer than males, although their lifespan still isn't particularly long, which brings us to number 2. How long do bees live? You might think bees would live longer than most insects, considering their reputation for hard work, but that's not the case. Most worker bees live for only 6 weeks during the busy summer months, but some may live up to 200 days in the fall or winter. Apis mellifera, also known as the western honeybee, is probably the most commonly known species of bee. This type of bee lives between 10 and 20 days, according to the National Library of Medicine. By contrast, queens can live for several years. But why do they live so long? Well, their role in the colony means that they lay most of the eggs, eat well, and receive constant care from the worker bees. Their survival is crucial to the hive because if the queen dies, the entire colony could collapse. Now that you know how long bees live, let's look at some fascinating facts about them. Number 3, bees that enjoy life. Just like humans, bees need some downtime too. If you've ever seen a group of bees in the summer, you'll notice that many aren't working. They simply lounge around in the warm sun, seemingly doing nothing. Sure, this behavior seems counterintuitive since it puts the colony at risk of starvation. But recent research suggests that this behavior makes sense from an evolutionary perspective. Scientists peg it as something called the joys of life. Basically, worker bees will engage in non-essential tasks just for fun. See, animals don't always act in ways that maximize survival. Sometimes the best strategy is to live a little. 4. Sacrifice for love. As we mentioned earlier, male bees typically die soon after mating with the queen. It might seem unfortunate, but it doesn't hurt the overall colony because there are plenty of male bees to take over his spot. However, not all bees are so lucky. Some bees, such as bumblebees, mate with multiple queens and then die after doing so. That means there's no guarantee that their offspring will inherit the precious worker bees. So why do male bees sacrifice themselves? Well, their love for their colony drives them to do it. In nature, altruism exists in many different species, including humans, and it turns out that bees are no exception. In fact, scientists believe that helping others is baked into their DNA. Researchers say that bees have evolved to be selfless because it helps preserve and propagate their genes. 5. The king of bees. Although the title of king doesn't really apply to bees, males actually hold an important position in the colony. Each hive has one queen bee, but there are usually hundreds of male bees called drones. Drones have big, round abdomens and shorter, thicker antennae. They don't collect pollen or nectar, but they do mate with the virgin queens so that they can pass on their genes. Plus, they assist with guarding the hive and keeping it free of intruders. And despite what happens to the males who mate with the queen, the drones don't have it so bad. In fact, they usually live longer than the average worker bee. So even though the queen is the leader of the pack, the drones deserve their place in the spotlight too. 6. Young bees learn to forage. It takes about 3 weeks for a young honeybee to mature. When they first hatch, they take care of the younger bees in the hive, clean up the hive, and store food. After about 2 weeks, they're ready to go on training flights outside the hive. It's risky business, but the new bees learn to fly and find food from experienced foragers. After that, they're officially full-fledged foragers and can continue the important work of making more honey for the hive. This learning period is similar to human apprenticeships, where young people spend time shadowing experts to learn a trade. Of course, not all apprenticeships last only 2 weeks, but it's amazing how quickly bees learn to forage. 7. Bees can be cannibalistic. We know bees have a reputation for being gentle creatures, but under certain circumstances, they can turn on each other. During droughts or other extreme weather events, some bees may resort to eating their own kind. Usually, cannibalism occurs when there's no food available and the colony is at risk of starvation. Some bees may even cannibalize their own eggs or larvae if necessary. It's not exactly neighborly, but it's all in the name of survival. There are a lot of similarities between honeybees and humans. One thing they have in common is the desire to protect themselves. But it turns out that some bees are pretty good at defending themselves against threats both inside and outside the hive. Number 8, can all bees sting? The short answer is no, not all bees can sting. Only female bees have stingers. They use their stingers to defend themselves and the hive. Males, on the other hand, are generally not able to sting. This is true for honeybees, bumblebees, carpenter bees, and other types of bees. However, some male bees may have a painful bite instead. So even though not all bees can sting, it's still a good idea to be careful around them. You never know when a male bee might decide to bite you. 9. Extraordinary ability to detect scents and recognize faces. Bees are capable of identifying human faces, according to recent studies. Scientists used a series of experiments to show bees pictures of human faces and then tested their ability to recognize those faces later. The results showed that bees can remember human faces for at least a week. It's not clear why bees are able to detect human faces, but it may help them avoid potential threats. They might also be able to identify friendly faces, such as those of beekeepers. Additionally, bees have an incredible sense of smell, which they use to find flowers with nectar and pollen. They can detect scents from up to 10 miles away and can distinguish between different colors. In fact, bees are thought to be able to see ultraviolet light, which allows them to see flowers that are invisible to humans. It's truly remarkable how much bees can detect, especially when you consider their small size. 10. Other curious facts about honeybees. Honeybees are the most common type of bee in the world. There are over 20,000 different breeds of honeybee worldwide, according to the American Beekeeping Federation. These bees can be found on every continent except Antarctica. Apis mellifera, also known as the western honeybee, is the most commonly known species of bee. It's prized not only for pollination, but also for the valuable products it provides, such as honey and beeswax. Honeybees have a unique way of communicating with each other through a series of movements called the waggle dance. The dance involves wagging their abdomen from side to side while moving in a straight line. Other bees in the colony will interpret the movement to determine the location of food sources. Honeybees are also highly efficient navigators and can travel up to 15 miles per hour. They can also navigate using landmarks such as trees and buildings. One of the most interesting facts about honeybees is that they produce honey. Honey is made from the nectar and pollen of plants. Honeybees collect the nectar and pollen and bring it back to the hive. The bees then evaporate the water from the nectar, leaving behind a thick, sweet substance. Honey is not only delicious, but it also has a number of health benefits. It contains antioxidants that can help fight inflammation and disease. Honey is also a food with no expiration date. Archaeologists have found edible honey in ancient tombs that are thousands of years old. Raw honey can also be used medicinally to heal wounds, soothe coughs, and more. 11. Some common types of bees. Today, there are many different types of bees today, but here are some of the most common ones. The western honeybee is probably the most commonly known species of bee. This type of bee lives between 10 and 20 days. Bumblebee. These fuzzy little bees are important pollinators, and they're also great at finding the best flowers to visit. Carpenter bee. These large bees can build their nests in wooden structures, which can sometimes cause problems for homeowners. Asian honeybee. These aggressive bees are known for their painful sting. Killer bee, also known as the Africanized bee. These bees are a hybrid of African and European honeybees. They're known for their extremely painful stings. There are many other types of bees, but these are just a few of the most common ones. Thanks for watching. What's your favorite fact about bees? Let us know in the comments below.